Oh, genes control my life. Oh, I am a victim of my genes. So whatever happens to me, I had nothing to do with it. The genes, they go, bad program. Because epigenetics is the new program that says, no, your consciousness is adjusting the genes. You want to change your life? Change your consciousness. The moment you change your consciousness, you can create a whole new life.
We need to create a conscious planet, that's what we are striving for. Now, to create a more conscious planet, if you are conscious, you have evolved out of your monkeyness quite some time ago.
How do I empower the self so it's not in the state where it's grasping, How do I sit with my emotions to allow myself to understand that the way that it feels makes sense? And all of this process causes a calming down of and the integration of the ego. And so what we end up with eventually is the conscious ego, which most people don't understand as a state that exists. Most people think consciousness is when you get rid of the ego. Right. I think that's the worst thing that we've ever taught, honestly.
Wow.
Like we're trying to progress to a place where the conscious ego is a choice. Selfhood is a choice. So the whole concept of self is something which you can put on and you can take off and you can choose elements of and you can extract from. And it's this relationship to the selfhood that is very much like it's not something that's stuck to me.
So to say I am me and that's some special spiritual entity, as far as I can tell, it's electrochemical synapses firing in your brain.
Got it. So it's
giving you this belief that you are something other than just the chemistry and biophysics of brain matter.
What is making it fire? Like what is asking it to do something? What makes me think to ask you a question?
This is consciousness, and this is a huge frontier. Now here's something I'm going to tell you no one else is going to tell you. You ready?
For sure.
If everybody's writing books on a subject, it means we know nothing about it. The more literature there is,
makes sense.
The less we know about it. That's why people keep writing about it. Go to the books, if there's still bookstores. Go to the bookstore. Look at the shelf on the human mind.
Oh, it's
There's
very
shelf after shelf after shelf. Now look at the shelf on physics. There's the gravity book, and that's it. It's like it's that.
It's because it is what it is.
It is what it is. We're there. We're on to the next thing. We got this. So the fact that everyone and their cousin is writing a book on consciousness is evidence of what we do not yet know. I'm just saying.
So are you saying that this is the exciting little frontier spot where we're at?
Yes. Consciousness.
What do you think about consciousness?
I think about it all the time. And
I'm with you.
Here's how I think about it. It's, why do I wake up every morning as me?
So that means everything that we create in the world out there is telling us something about ourselves in here. And it's a mind blower. It's a really interesting way of thinking. So all the art, all the sculptures, all the music. I'm a musician when I'm not being an author. All the music that we create, the movies, Hollywood. Look at the films that people are most drawn to, the blockbusters. And look at the themes of those films. The Matrix, for example, told us that there's a world that we can't see, that we participate in, that influences a world that we can see. The movie Avatar reminded us of our relationship to nature and the natural world. Inception was all about dreams and dreams within dreams. And the young people, I love this. Young people are so turned on, man. They are fired up over the superheroes, the Avengers and Wonder Woman, all reminding them that there is a potential within them that maybe they have yet to fully tap, that we have abilities that we're only beginning to understand. So if consciousness informs itself through its creations, then that principle would extend to the technology. So I am not surprised that the internet that we built mimics our neural networks within our bodies. This is such a powerful principle. Consciousness informs itself through its creations.
It's probably the deepest experiences I've ever had with meditation that I can share, of that genuine feeling that I'm not my body and this is just a container and a vessel and a vehicle, and that I'm a consciousness beyond this, and so are you and so is everyone else.
Because we have a program that's called the biological imperative. It's built into every organism, from bacteria all the way up to humans. I say, what is an imperative? the drive to survive. A bacterium is built with a biological imperative. If you try and kill it, it's not going to go, oh, okay, kill me. No, the bacterium will do every maneuver possible to stay alive. So we are built to survive. Well, to be able to survive, you better be careful of things that threaten you. So things that threaten you take more interest, because I got to be, these things could threaten me. So I look at the scary things. I didn't look at the good things. I'm okay with them. I got no problem with that. It's the things that scare me that I pay more attention to. And I go, consciousness is creating your reality. If you put a picture of fear into your reality, then your biology behavior will manifest things to be afraid of. Because this is a short statement, but to me, it's the most powerful one. Simple and short, and it goes like this. The function of the mind is to create coherence between your beliefs and your reality. If I have a negative belief, the function of my mind is to manifest behavior to experience those negative realities. If I have positive beliefs, then the function of my mind is to manifest a positive experience. But we get programmed with so many negative beliefs, and that takes away our power because we're not focusing on the beautiful things, we're focusing on the fear. What are you afraid of?
Like people can't keep their phone aside now because like this, because it's got some 1000 GB of some nonsense, all right, going on. If you just keep it aside and switch it off, you can sit here, it's over, right? But they can't do it because they have no means, they've never seen how. Because it is not about the phone, it is because you're compulsive. It may be a phone, it may be a cigarette, it may be a drink, it may be a food, it may be a person. You can't keep your hands free because you're compulsive. It may be your longing for food or pleasure or something, but essentially you're compulsive. If you're compulsive, you're kind of denying your evolutionary status. Because the significance of being human is we can be conscious. We're not doing anything very different from what the other creatures are doing. They are also just born like us. You know, their parents came together, they were born. Our parents came together, we are born. We grow up. They grow up very easily, we grow up with a lot of fuss. Then what is the next significant thing that you do as a generation if you look? Next thing is maybe we will reproduce. And they will reproduce without fuss, you will reproduce with lot of fuss. And one day you will die, that also with lot of fuss. They do it more gracefully. So everything that you do, every ant to elephant, everybody is doing it. Only thing is we can do it consciously. This is a massive difference. That we can do the same simple things consciously, suddenly it's another space. Suddenly it's a completely different possibility. If you do not exercise this ability to be conscious in every act that you are, because consciousness is not in the act that you perform. Right now, I hear that everybody is saying, be mindful of this, be mindful of that. Mindfulness will make you a little more alert, maybe you'll survive better than others.
Okay.
But consciousness is your existence. So you know you're here only because you're conscious, isn't it? If you fall asleep and you're unconscious, you don't know where you're sitting.
Because if everything's just fractal in nature and it's just sort of perfect geometry happening all over the place, I'm wondering where consciousness plays into it and our existence and what we're essentially here for. Why are we even able to quantify or question this?
Because Source itself is trying to know itself. And I think this is one of the most freeing answers, if people really understand it, but it's also a terrifying answer. It's like, you know that there's a terror in freedom, and there's a terror in responsibility. And there's a terror for humans if they start looking at this concept of Source or God as if it's not this all-knowing being that already has everything planned out. When humans understand that Source itself has a subconscious and does not know itself, it's like, oh no, we're out on a limb. But it gets even scarier when I tell you that every creature that has ever been, created in existence, Source is all there is. So it's essentially taking parts of itself and like, let's see all of the potentials of me so as to become self-aware. So we are facilitating the self-awareness within Source itself.
Yeah, so a good example from other experiences, often we would meditate in extreme cold or heat. And the purpose of that was to when you're in that much physical pain, you have no choice but to go inward. And so it's almost like you enter into the inner world and the inner universe of the connectedness between everything. So you're no longer feeling the physical connection with the body. Like right now I'm sitting, I can feel that I'm sitting.
Yeah.
And I can feel that my leg, I've crossed my legs because I always feel comfortable when I cross my legs on chairs than sitting with my legs down. And so, but I can feel that I'm doing that. I'm conscious of it. Whereas my point is losing that physical consciousness of yourself. To not feel like you're even sitting here, to not even feel like you're in this physical space. To really experience that has probably been one of my favorite experiences of meditation. And I don't try and the goal isn't to feel that. Like that's not right. I think that's where people get confused. Like I don't meditate to feel that. When you meditate purely and deeply, you experience that as a byproduct. And so it was very clearly explained to us that you're not meditating to be powerful or gain powers or gain these mystic abilities. That's not the point. Like you meditate to build up the deepest connection with yourself and others in the universe. And a byproduct of that is that you may experience this.
I'm me. What makes that? Right. And consider that identical twins with identical DNA have separate consciousnesses. They're separate. They're not the same people. They have different thoughts. They might have similar desires, or they have twins separated and they both drive the same color car or whatever, as they later discover. That happens. Fine. But I'm talking about, are you hungry in this moment? That's your consciousness telling you that.
Sure.
And your twin just ate an hour ago. Your twin is not having that same thought. This is the big challenge with the transporter in Star Trek. If I disassemble your molecules and reassemble them over there, is your consciousness part of that? Is your consciousness even a transferable entity?
Right.
I don't know. So, and let me ask a more blunt question. Is consciousness even the right question to ask? We think it's the right question.
So the question now that scientists are asking, this is where the really intense podcast gets really, really intense. It's called the forbidden question. The forbidden question is, are we living in what is called a base reality, or are we living in a virtual reality or a simulated reality that is reflecting a base reality somewhere else? Now, a lot of people think, well, this is science fiction. If consciousness informs itself through its creations, and we have made all of these movies about these simulations, what are we asking ourselves to remember?
Right now, you're conscious. Question is only how conscious. So now all you need to do is turn up the voltage, because you cannot be conscious without generating an intense level of energy. Have you noticed, when you're on full throttle and taking the corner, you're far more conscious than sitting on a chair.
Yes.
Now, let me translate that. That is not the way it should be, because that is still alertness. But there is an element of consciousness in that. Suppose you could keep yourself like that without the necessary adrenaline attached to it, without the necessary maybe an element of fear or danger attached to it. If you could simply sit like here, keeping your blood pressure down, but as alert as you were taking that corner at full speed, then you will achieve something that you have never imagined possible. You will hit a pitch of life that you never imagined possible.
If you understand the process, you can rewrite your life and change the outcome. You can change these programs sometimes in 15 minutes or less, okay? But you need to know how to do it, okay? The relevance about all this is the movie The Matrix. It's science fiction. I go, no, movie The Matrix is a documentary. What do you mean? I go, premise, everybody's been programmed. I go, oh, that's a given. We are all programmed from last trimester to age 7. Everyone is. But in the movie, they say, well, you can take a red pill and get out of the program. And I want to suggest that most people in our audience right now that we have here today have taken the red pill at one time or another, and their life profoundly changed. I go, when was that? one of the best examples is when people fall in love. I go, what do you mean? I go, well, their life is blah, 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 blah. They fall in love, they meet somebody 24 hours later. Oh, life is so beautiful. I'm so in love. I'm so happy. Look, I'm glowing. Look, I got growth hormone in my system. I go, 24 hours later, after blah, 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 all those years, and 24 hours later, you manifest heaven on earth? I go, how'd that happen? And the answer is beautiful. Because the answer is when you fall in love, you stop thinking. You stay present. It's called staying mindful. Mm-hmm. I go, what does that mean? I say, when you're thinking is when the subconscious autopilot kicks in. If you're not thinking, then the conscious creative mind is the one that's manifesting your life. So I go, the moment you fell in love, why would you think? And the reason is this: you've been waiting for this person your whole life. They showed up. You want to think and disconnect from this? I go, no, you want to stay present. You want to be mindful. You want to be there. I go, you stop thinking. I say, what's the result? It's the red pill. The moment you stop thinking is you're not diverting to the subconscious anymore. You are operating from conscious wishes and desires. And so the honeymoon is not an accident. It's a manifestation that says, I'm not playing a program.
Actually, you have not enjoyed the power of stillness. That's why you think this is better, amphetamine is better than being still. Stillness is the nature of the existence. Over 99% of the existence, which is not material in nature, in this entire cosmos, not even 1% is material existence. Rest is all absolutely still. This is the lap of creation. You must be there always because you are a piece of creation. You are best only when you're in the lap of creation.